Hello and welcome to my channel. So today I would like to introduce you how to write a good user story, and I believe that after this topic then you will know how to make your user story is more appropriate and also it's more acceptable for both development team and for other stakeholder. So for this topic is quite long, so therefore I will try to cut it to two parts. And so let's start with the first part. So the agenda for today is what is user story, what is the good user story, and how can we write a good user story. And of course I will make some examples for you. And for the question and answer, you can note down the question below for the comment, or you can ask me directly and I will answer later. So let's move on. Firstly, what is user story? So a user story is an informal, general explanation of a software features written from the perspective of the end user. So remember, the end user. The purpose is to articulate how a software features will provide values to the customer. So remember, a user story need to show up something that we can see it provide values to the customer. So what is a good user story? After we see that a user story should provide value to the end user, to the customer, so a good user story provides an excellent way to define your product with clarity. A good user story can help you to save your time in clarifying requirements and understand what user needs. And sometimes the simplest user story is a good user story. So you understand this part, right? It means that when you write a user story and the development team still need to ask you to clarify it. So maybe it's not a good enough user story. And even when you write a simple user story, but it's not have enough details inside. And of course, when working on this, the development team still need to ask you, how can we work on this and what is your purpose here, something like that. And pretty sure it's not a good user story. So a good user story need to define the purpose and need to make clear for the requirements and make people understand what user needs, and also try to make it simple. And of course, a user story is different with the task. Some stories are not tasks. In fact, a single story may need hundreds of single tasks to be successfully delivered. Tasks are about implementation. User stories are about definition. And when compiling your stories, focus on providing clarify about your product's features, the what, not the how. So you got this. One user story may contain for 100 of single tasks inside, but of course we should not make the very big user story like that. Okay, and task is about the way to implement. It's just like the way to work on this to make this user story done. But user story is the definition. It means that the purpose, what you want to do, what the user want to have. So the definition, and the task is the way to implement that. Yeah. And how can we write a good user story? Just remember for the template. Firstly, you should know about the template like this. As a roles or persona, I can go and need, so that why. So this template is something like, as a user, I can click on search button so that I can search for the products that I'm looking for, something like that. You got this point? As a role, and then when I do something, I expect something So the expectation is something else. I do something and the expectation is some other thing, something like this. Or in the another instance is a particular class of user. It's just like admin, operator, and so on. I want to be able to perform or do something so that I get some forms of value or benefits. Just the same as I try to explain to you. As a user, after I input a correct username and password, I would like to log in successfully to the homepage. Something like that. So you can imagine something is really big, just like initiative, and then you have the epic for what you would like to do is something it's really big one, just like the feature. And then you have the story, and then you have tasks, and then you have subtasks. So firstly, you remember the templates, right? And then secondly, you try to stay in the high level. You need to be in high level. Story always must be simple and solid. This will help team member and stakeholder deeply understand the user needs and avoid spending time clarifying buzzwords and so something for unclear. And just use simple and accurate language. It means you don't need to show up that you are very good in this kind of language. You don't need to use very difficult words, but you use a very simple language to make every people understand. And you stay in high level. You don't need to explain very detailed inside. The way how to implement that, the way how to do that, you can let the development team work on this. You just shows them the purpose, and after this action, what next, and what after you input correct part and what you expect next. That's what you should display in your user story. So this part is only cover for the user story of part 1. It means that you need to go to part 2 for this video to see for the rest of this slide. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.